What's up, guys? We are back with another PremiumDNA Battletoads Wave 1 review, and we're taking a look at the other Battletoad in this wave. We're taking a look at ZITZ. Now, I've already taken a look at the figure itself in the New Jersey Toy-Con exclusive, but this figure is still really different. Different deco and a lot more different, crazy, goofy accessories. He also comes in a different box, and just like throughout the rest of the figures in this wave, the box is a different size from pretty much all the others because of some of the stuff he includes. Now, he does have a slipcover. You've got the sort of toad emblem there on the front. You've got the Battletoads logo on the spine. Pop the slipcover off, and you've got your figure there, of course, in the big window. Normal stuff for a slipcover style box. You've got some sprite artwork on one spine. The other spine is going to give you cross-sell for the entirety of Wave 1, and then the back of the box kind of gives us a loadout product shot of the figure, as well as all of the insane, massive accessories this guy includes. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Battletoads Wave 1 ZITZ. And like I mentioned, I have already taken a look at the overwhelming majority of this figure in that New Jersey Toy-Con exclusive version, but this is a different deco. And there's also accessories to talk about this time. That first figure was literally a first release, let's pump it out early kind of thing. And he didn't really come with anything except for hands. This guy comes with all of the crazy attachments. In the same way that Rash comes with a bunch of stuff for his feet, ZITZ comes with arguably some of the more ridiculous stuff when it comes to hand attachments. So let's see what this guy can do. See how he moves around. He's exactly the same as that NJ Toy-Con figure, but he's also a little bit different from Rash, if you caught that video and maybe not that first one. ZITZ does have one area of limitation just based on his design. So we got the head, and it looks up really good. You know, he looks down really good also. You can swivel it side to side. You've got rotation. You know, the heads face forward, so you do have to worry about that. You know, just from a perspective standpoint, their heads are kind of odd. Arms go out at the shoulders. They, of course, rotate. You've got your bicep swivel. The elbows are where he is more limited, and it's because he has these cuffs on his wrists. They have a rim around them, and they just hit the biceps. So whereas Rash can go up closer to, 180, ZITZ is just a little bit higher than 90. You've got hinges, rotation at the wrist. They've got the diaphragm cut, so he goes backwards. Forwards pretty decently. You can get him to crunch over a little bit. Really, really good tilt side to side, though. You can hear them, they're kind of squeaky. And then you've got your swivel point there also. Legs have drop down hips, so they kick. Let's move that arm out of the way. Legs kick out all the way. And when they're dropped down, they kick like way more than 90. You do have a little bit backwards, not much. And then you've got a thigh twist up there. Your knees are double jointed. And again, these are all pinless too. I mentioned that with Rash's video as well. You do have the rubbery little knee pads there that kind of get out of the way. You can sort of squeeze them to get them to go back a good bit. And then you've got really, really nice rocker and hinges down at those ankles. I mean, the rocker, you couldn't really ask for much more than that. So these guys are pretty well articulated. No real issues to speak of here. Very similar to Rash, if you caught that video. But he is slightly hindered at the elbows just by virtue of the fact that he has these big gauntlet cuffs. Now, when it comes to the visuals on this guy, I mean, he's very similar to Rash. He's very similar to the first ZITZ that I took a look at. But the colors are different, and the pack out is different on this figure. So if you have that New Jersey Toy-Con exclusive, this is a different head sculpt. So the NJ Toy-Con head, I suppose we'll call the alt head for this. So you've got a slightly muted green, like it's green, but it's not like super, super bright. It's got a little hint of blue in it as well. And I believe that these figures are more based on like the Battle Maniacs colors, because that NJ Toy-Con figure is an NES color figure. That's the whole point of that one. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and do this so you can see them both, see what I'm talking about here. So this is our NJ Toy-Con ZITZ over here, and he's super green. So by comparison, he's much more green. And then this is the alt head with the tongue out. But it's the same figure, and that is to say, I mean, I was really happy with it the first time around. I'm happy with it in a different way this time around, because this one goes a little bit more with the Rash that we have. And then just the idea of getting some NES versions definitely works for me. But they're the same figure, same articulation, same sculpt, all that good stuff. So if you've got that one, or if you just wanted to see them, there you go. But what I really like about these guys, and it's the same thing that I said with Rash, it's their odd proportions. These guys are weird, right? They have these relatively small legs, super, super V torso. They've got the big, massive pecs, and they've got these huge gorilla arms. I like his colors. I like the patterning. I like the rubbery belt and the knee pads because they're both free. They're all free floating. Get them out of the way. The knee pads in particular don't really hinder articulation. And then I like the fact that he's just a little bit different from Rash too. He has the gauntlets, he's got like the little communicator on his wrist. It does bulk up the arm a bit to the point where it messes up with articulation at the elbow. But at the same time, I like them to not be exactly carbon copies of each other. There is something that's different, and it's not just the color scheme. I like this head sculpt. I like the toothy grin, because the other head sculpt is arguably the weird one of the two, because he just sort of looks kind of coked out with that expression on his face. But I like this. I like the toothy grin. You've got a fully painted mouth, fully painted figure. I mean, everything's painted. But the mouth is like kind of glossy as well in comparison to some of the more matte finishes on the figure. You've got a somewhat wettish look up there, also with the eyes too. So he's a pretty solid looking figure, very similar to Rash and, you know, identical in many ways to that NJ Toy-Con. But this is a cool figure, put together really well, goofy proportions, goofy idea, executed nicely. And then for some size comparisons, let's start with other Battletoad stuff. So we've got the Porka Pig figure here on the left, and we've got Rash here on the right. And these guys all line up really well. They're basically the same size. You know, the Rat Bones is taller, and then the Generals are, of course, infinitely larger than these guys. But these are pretty comparable. The only thing that's different truly is the bulk on our Pigman here. And let's do some other lines. So here is a Figuarts. There's Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And like I mentioned in the Rash video, these guys are not super tall. They're just kind of bulky and beefy. They're a little bit larger than average. And let's move the Pigman aside. And here is a Hasbro figure. Here is Scrap Iron from Classified. So that gives you a pretty good idea of what he's going to look like next to pretty much anything Hasbro or normal 112. Let's do an Ultimates. So here's Lino. And then let's do a Legions. Here's a Cosmic Legions figure. There is a Tusk Sentry. So these guys are, you know, normal-ish 6-inch style figures. They're just bulky, they're wide, and they've got some goofy proportions, but they're going to fit well with just about anything because, you know, Toadmen don't have to be a certain height, so you can probably fudge them into just about anything. Now, as far as accessories goes, this is the weird point for like the entire line. Even though we have some absolutely massive figures in this line, we also have some really goofy, massive accessories, and this is the big one, literally. So just like with Rash, where he has a bunch of stuff that connects to his feet and becomes weapons, you get swappable hands, and in some cases forearms in many ways, for ZITZ when it comes to his accessories. So he has the big one, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull it off so you know you can sort of just see. So this attaches to both hands, so you'll take both hands off, and then this will pop on over top. But you've got this big monster sort of, you know, bulldozer shovel type of thing. It's fully painted. This is the reason why he comes in a larger box too. It's got the connection points here, and this is a separate piece, so you'll pop that on. It just pegs into the back, and then you pop it into his hands. I did have to heat the wrist holes up to get that to go in, but otherwise it went in pretty well, and it does seem to hold just fine. It holds him up really well. The balance is not going to be an issue with this accessory by any means. So it's pretty cool. It's going to take up a ton of space if you decide to use it on your shelf, but it's a cool one. It's a really weird accessory. I would have never expected something like this, honestly. This seems almost just insane to include. We do also have a couple other more subdued accessories for him when it comes to the attachments. So he's got the big fist, and these actually pop on over top of the gauntlet, and they will sort of clasp around the bands on the gauntlets there. So you've got the big spiked fist, and then we've also got the big drill. So these will both be on his hands. They are kind of heavy. You know, they might, if you use both, you might have to balance them a little bit better, but he seems to hold them just fine. So you've got those options, and they're both enormous and ridiculous in their own right. They're just not as ridiculous as the other. And I like these. I kind of prefer these to Rash's accessories, simply by virtue of how they connect. You know, you don't have to swap out a foot for this. And while that's accurate to the game, it is a little bit, you know, cumbersome, and you have to balance around that. This is a little bit easier to manage just from, you know, a logistical standpoint, I suppose. And then he does come with some normal accessories outside of the realm of this weirdness. So we do get the extra head sculpt, and like I mentioned, this is the one that I've already shown that came on the NJ Toy-Con exclusive. So this is it's a similar kind of head sculpt. His mouth is open, and you can see his tongue this time around. He looks a little crazed, which works well with these accessories. And then just like Rash, he gets some hands, but he has gloves, so his hands are black instead of the exposed skin. So you get the big gripping hands. You get a set of these, and then you also get a set of regular gripping hands also. So you get 6 total hands. And then I suppose, well, 9 if you count all of the 3 attachments as well. So he does have a lot of cool stuff here. Again, it all is very much on the side of absurdity when it comes to these accessories, but they are no doubt super fun, super weird things to just sort of attach to this guy. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this guy, and it's mostly because I get the complete package now. I was really happy with that early exclusive, but to see the accessories and how they're implemented on this figure really does change him for me. He moves well, he looks good, sized well. Like, I really like the entire idea behind these figures and what they're doing with them. But the accessories were always kind of a worry because it's weird stuff. It's humongous weird stuff. And I will say that bulldozer shovel thing is probably one of the more impractical accessories I have ever seen, but it works well. All of this stuff does attach to the figure nicely, and it just sort of makes him work a little bit better than I had hoped. I do feel like the accessories, again, are a little bit better implemented than Rash just by virtue of how they connect and what they were able to do there. But I'm really happy with this guy overall. I think he looks good, and if you've been in the market for Battletoads figures, you know, this is your chance. I don't expect this is really ever going to happen again. So that's going to do it for this look at the PremiumDNA Battletoads Wave 1 ZITZ. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.